صارت تعلن إعلانات كثير على الانتباه في السواقة المسرعة، وذكر إنه أهله كانوا ينصحوه إنه يدير باله لما يسوق ويحذر من اللي حواليه، مش يعني بس يسوق هو لنفسه، ولازم يشوف ينتبه ما يجري حواليه. و you can go ahead and move
Okay. So yes, fire safety. As the fire marshal, we respond to, when a fire happens, we respond to the scene to determine the cause of fires. So things that I have noticed throughout the years doing that job that are, again, preventable. And I told Said earlier I had a story about myself, and I use stories all the time and examples because it just kind of makes more sense to me when I hear examples and stories rather than just somebody telling me something. Hookahs cooking in the garage, using the garage and the basement. A lot of people have kitchen appliances in their garages and in their basements. I've gone on fires where people have been doing French fries in the basement with oil. They'll walk upstairs to get something that they forgot or to go check on something, and the oil will bubble over onto the stove and flash. As soon as that oil hits the burner, it flashes and causes a bigger fire. And in their basement, you've got your cabinets right above your stove, so that catches fire and it's off to the races. The smoke ends up going up the stairs and does quite a bit of damage to the homes. So a big one that we talk about quite a bit to people is unattended cooking. If you're leaving a stove or, either in the basement, garage, even in the kitchen, it seems like a lot of work, but I shut my burner off every time I'm cooking. I don't care what it is. It takes 2 seconds when you come back to get the temperature back up. But if you're making fries or doing anything with oil, chicken or whatever, finish one batch of it. If you have to walk away, I shut the burner off, kill the flame completely, because it seems to me that every time I've gone out, the person has said, I walked away for 2 minutes and I came back and there was a fire. So it's almost like it's playing a trick on you. As soon as you turn your back, something's going to happen. So in order to prevent that, if you shut that flame off, you're getting rid of the ignition source. So your odds of keeping a fire from starting are great.
تكلم على إنه لما يحصل حادث فريق الإطفاء يروح لمكان الحادث ويشوفوا إيش كانت المشكلة وكيف حصلت المشكلة، يعني إيش سبب الحادث. فهذا يعملوا دراسة على إيش سبب الحادث. بعدين رجع يتكلم على الجراج والبيسمنت، وتكلم على موضوع إنه في ناس يحاولوا يطبخوا ويروحوا بعيد من الستوف، ينسوا إنه بيطبخ حاجة، وبالذات الزيت يعني لما تظلي النار عليه يفور تكبر الحريقة ويسبب حريقة، يعني الكابنت والأشياء هذه بعدين تحرق. فبيقول نصيحة إنه أي وقت واحد يبتعد من الستوف خلال الطباخة يطفي الستوف، وبعدين لما يرجع يفتحها من جديد، لأنه الناس ينسوا.
And sticking with that theme, hookahs, barbecues, any type of coal that you're using, charcoal. I had an personal example. I had a bonfire out there with my nephews out in the backyard, nephews and wife. I came out the next morning. I put my hand over the ashes to feel if it was hot, and it wasn't hot at all. So I thought, well, shoot, it's out. It sat all night long. It can't be hot. So I took that fire pit and dumped the ashes in my city garbage can, the plastic garbage can. And, still I didn't see any embers. I didn't see anything that looked like there was any trace of any ignition source whatsoever. And maybe an hour later, my wife had asked me, why does our garbage can top look like that? And I looked over and our garbage can top was melting and bowing in. So I opened it up and there was smoke coming out of my garbage can. So put the hose in there, my garden hose. But that just taught me And I got made fun of by my family too. They said, "Aren't you the fire marshal? What are you doing throwing it in the garbage?" So I didn't have an answer. It just, my point is, when you think those coals are out, we've had people go to bed with their hookah in the basement, with the coal sitting on top, and an ember can jump and get, maybe it hits the couch or the carpeting or something like that. So just a little extra caution when using coals or wood or anything like that, again, goes a long way. If I would have put water on that and kind of swirled it around and really made sure that it was out, and luckily for me, I was home. We've had people leave home and my garbage can is right against my house. So if my garbage can starts on fire right against my house, the next thing to go is my house. So, and we've had that happen. People's siding catches fire, it goes up into the roof, and next thing you know, their house is on fire because they threw something in the garbage can that they thought wasn't hot, so, and I'm guilty of it. But that's just something to think about.
الأخ مايكل ذكر بعض الأشياء إنه حصلت معه قصة إنه كان معه الفاير بيت اللي يعملوا حريق، يجمعوا خشب ويحرقوا يستمتعوا فيه، ومع إنه خلاها لليوم الثاني بعد ما طفاها ورجع اليوم الثاني وحطها، يعني حاول إنه يشوف إنه يتأكد إنه النار مطفية، وفكر إنه مطفية يعني ورماهم على الجاربج كان، على الزبالة. وبعد قليل انتبهت زوجته إنه الجاربج بيحرق. فبيقول إنه حصلت هذه مع ناس آخرين، وأحيانا بيكون البرميل هذا تبع القمامة قريب للبيت، فتحرق القمامة ويحرق البيت، وتكون يعني أثر كبير جدا.
Beautiful. Another one that we see often, extension cords and electrical safety. This is something that, again, I don't know if everybody's aware of it or not, but electricity produces heat at times. So when you have pinched wires or bends, lots of bends, and maybe an extension cord or too long of an extension cord, maybe running an air conditioner, something that draws a lot of power, that extension cord can become hot and overheat, and that can affect the plug that it's plugged into. It can affect the appliance that it's supplying power to, and the cord itself. If there's damage to the cord, I've seen people using extension cords that have nicks and chips in them. Maybe we roll over it with a chair or something, or an extension cord sits out in the backyard or in your garage for however long, and you ride your bike over it, or you clip it with something. Just making sure that your use of extension cords is kind of kept under control. If you need extra power outlets put into the wall, it's recommended to contact a licensed electrician to add plugs for you. But again, having the appliances that we have in our garages, powering all of those up. We've had freezers, refrigerators, electric pizza ovens, things like that, and they're all plugged into these electric strips. And again, those can overdraw or overtax our power source. So just be aware of that. If you're using a lot of electrical equipment in a garage or in your basement, that you're plugging it directly into a outlet that's in a wall outlet.
اوكي، تكلم على الواير الاكستنشن كورد اللي هو سلك كهرباء توصيل من فيش الى اشياء كثيره، مثلا اير كونديشن، مروحه، ايش ما كان، ثلاجه. احيانا الاكستنشن يقول لك الكهرباء هي اصلا ترجع الى حر، يعني يكون حر فيسبب حريقه، فلازم ننتبه على هذا الشيء لانه يعمل اوفر هيت، ولما يعمل اوفر هيت يعني يحرق مره، يحرق البلج وفعلا يسبب حريقه، فلازم ننتبه على هذا الشيء. فينصح انه اذا مثلا تشتي توصل كهرباء لاشياء كثير، تحاول انك تستخدم مش نفس البلج، تستخدم يعني فيش اكثر من فيش واحد. واذا ما في عندك هذا الاشياء، انك تتواصل مع شخص كهربائي وتخليه يعمل لك هذا الاشياء.
Cool. If you guys were to encounter a fire in your home or a building, it's kind of counterintuitive to shut the door. You know, I heard that growing up, you know, keep your doors closed when you sleep. If there's a fire, shut the door. I always thought, like, why would you want to do that? Don't you want to let the smoke out and, you know, create an exit and, you know, ventilate the fire? But what that's doing is allowing the fire to get more oxygen, so the fire grows. Obviously, we know that fire grows with oxygen. So we had a fire on the west end of town recently in July, and somebody was they knocked on the door and kicked the door into the neighbor's house, and they opened the front door, and you can see on security camera there was a little smoke coming out the side window, but once he opened that front door, you could see the fire, it grew considerably with the introduction of oxygen. So once you have ensured that people are out of the structure, out of the room, or out of the house, whatever, make sure that you shut the doors behind you. Like I said, people open their garage doors thinking, you know, they're going to let the smoke out, or they're going to investigate what's going on, which is okay. But they said once we opened that garage door, they saw a little flame somewhere down in the corner, and they say once we opened that door up, you know, the fire just took off. So remembering it's called compartmentalizing a fire. I guess you want to keep the fire in its own little area. So if there was a fire somewhere in this building, in the basement maybe, or whatever, you would, you know, shut that door, keep it contained into that room. And when we arrive, you know, we have the hoses, and we have the, you know, obviously our hoses have water, which is how we put the fire out. So that's, you know, we can keep the fire at bay that way. But keeping doors closed, if there is something going on at home, you know, a fire incident is important to do.
ذكر موضوع لما تكون في حريقة المفترض إنه الأبواب كلها تظل مغلقة، لأنه كل ما تفتحت الأبواب كل ما توسع الأكسجين، يعني الهواء للفاير، ويرجع يكبر الفاير. ذكر نقطة إنه كانت حريقة في بيت، ومع إنه فيه جيرانهم أدركوا إن فيه دخان بيخرج من البيت، راحوا فتحوا الباب وسببت الحريقة تكبر. يعني بدل ما إنه حاول إنه يساعدهم، يعني وقعت مشكلة أكبر. فلازم الحذر إنه دائما لو مثلا يكون حريقة في البيسمنت، المفروض الأبواب تكون مغلقة مشان ما يطلعش الحريقة لفوق. بس لما هم موجودين من فريق الإطفاء، هم ممكن يعملوا هذا الإجراءات، يفتحوا الأبواب وهم مستعدين إيش يعني كيف يعانوا على هذا الحريقة. دائما خلوا الأبواب مقفولة إن شاء الله.
And circling back to cooking, I didn't mention grease fires. Again, we do a lot of cooking with grease, frying French fries, chicken, whatever it is. If something happens when you're frying, our instinct is to throw water on a fire. So, and I read articles on this throughout the years, and people have even said, you know, they've had grease fires and they know not to put water on a grease fire, but their instinct is to grab water and throw it on there anyway. So if you're cooking with grease at home, I've seen this a few times throughout the city, you don't want to use water on a grease fire. Water is more dense than grease. If you notice, like oil and grease floats on top of water. So when you throw water on a grease fire, the water turns to steam, you know, almost immediately, and that's what causes almost like an explosion. You know, if you guys were to get online and look that up on YouTube or something, you can see water on oil in a fire, and it just literally almost like explodes, and it makes the fire 10 times worse than it was. So water and grease, water and oil, you don't want to use water on those types of fires. If you do have that go on in the kitchen, you would want to take either a wet towel, kitchen towel, throw it under the faucet and get it wet. And I know that contains water, but it's just making the towel heavy, you know, and keeping it from, keeping the air from, you know, it's going to smother the fire when you throw it on it. So use a wet towel, baking soda, You can have a fire extinguisher in the kitchen. Some people keep fire extinguishers in the kitchen. You don't want them near the stove because that's the hazard. That's where the fire may start. But you keep your fire extinguisher probably, over on the counter somewhere. They have them at Home Depot also. They almost look like hairspray bottles. It's a little fire extinguisher. And there's plenty of extinguishing agent in that fire to put out a stove fire. So you can put that somewhere, and it's non-intrusive. It doesn't look too bad on your countertop. But I just wanted to touch on that because I've seen people take water and throw it on a fire in their garage, and again, the fire just races up the wall, and it's almost like putting gasoline on a fire. So you'd want to use something, a lid, the pot lid. You can put the pot lid on top of the fire, a wet towel, baking soda, anything like that.
تكلم الأخ مايكل على القلاية، الطباخة مع الزيت. أحيانا يكون رد فعلنا عندما يكون حريقة في الزيت، ننفعل ونسكب ماء على الفاير، على الحريقة، وهذا من الخطأ لأنه بيقول الماء يعني يزيد الحريقة 10 أضعاف. فالمفروض أنك ما تستخدم شيء ماء، تستخدم منشفة خضراء وترميه على المكان اللي أنت بتطبخ فيه زيت. وإذا ممكن إذا عندكم بيكنج سودا، ما مش عارف إيش البيكنج سودا بالعربي، بيكنج سودا تجي مثل الطحين فتستخدمه على الفاير هذا، على الحريقة. وإذا تمكنت الأمور أنه المفروض يكون مع كل واحد هذا الماكينة حق الإطفاء، ممكن واحد يشتريها من هوم ديبو ويعلقها في المطبخ، مشان إذا لا سمح الله في شيء. هذا أفضل شيء إنه يستخدم الفاير ستينغويشر. وأخيرا قال ممكن حتى لو في حريقة مع الزيت إنه الغطاء برضو أفضل من الماء، يرجع يغطي الواحد مشان ما تكبرش الحريقة.
Another thing, and I will leave my card. Like I said, if you guys need anything, you can holler. Contact me if you guys need carbon monoxide detectors. All of our furnaces, appliances that we use in the house, our hot water heaters, those all have pilot lights. And if that pilot light, that flame underneath that appliance were to go out, you're going to have gas, entering your home. So having a carbon monoxide detector is a great idea. I've got one in the basement next to my water heater and my furnace, and I've got one upstairs kind of in the hallway. And that just gives you an alert. It's basically like a smoke detector, but for carbon monoxide, which is, it will kill you, carbon monoxide. It's, makes you dizzy and kind of makes you tired, and you'll end up going to sleep, and, you don't wake up from that. So that's happened to people. They've been in their home using some type of appliance, and the house, slowly fills with carbon monoxide. They kind of get drowsy and stuff, lay down for a minute, and then, again, tragically, we're called to, somebody unresponsive, and that's what's happened. So having carbon monoxide detectors in your home is super important. And I know we preach smoke detectors all the time, but carbon monoxide detectors, I feel like they kind of go they're not as talked about, I think, as they should be. But I have a lot of those available. If you guys need them, please contact me, and I can get those over to you.
And my guess is carbon monoxide is caused by natural gas?
Yeah, it's exhaust. In the wintertime, people will use, if we have a power outage, they'll use a generator, any type of exhaust. Our vehicles produce carbon monoxide, gas-powered engines. So yeah, carbon monoxide, what did I just say?
Carbon monoxide?
No, the generators. I'm sorry,
yeah.
God almighty.
Generators.
Generators. So people will use these generators in their garages, or some people have brought generators in the wintertime in the home because power is out and they want to run a heater, but you have to have somewhere for that exhaust to go. So now they're filling their house up with carbon monoxide. And like I said, it's a matter of time, till all the oxygen is dissipated in that room. So, anything that has an exhaust on it, should be exhausted into the outside. So carbon monoxide detectors. I have them available. If you guys need them, please let me know and I can get you some.
اوكي. الاخ مايكل تحدث على انه بيترك معلوماته يعني بالكارت تبعه، اذا حدا يحتاج يتواصل معه ممكن يتواصل معه مباشرة. تكلم على الكربون مونوكسيد. الكربون هذا نتيجة اوكي شكرا. هذا نتيجة تسرب غاز، يعني يمكن واحد يخلي الستوف تبعه شغال وماوش اصلا النار ما بيحرقش، يعني بيتسرب الغاز هذا. او احيانا ذكر انه ناس يستخدموا جنريترز ويدخلوهن داخل الجراجات او حتى لا داخل البيت، وهذا يقع فيه تسريب من الكربون مونوكسيد. والكربون مونوكسيد هذا ممكن انه ينوم الواحد، يعني ما يفقد الواحد نفسه، وممكن يعني I don't know if it results to death from the carbon monoxide. so ممكن يعني واحد لا سمح الله يتوفى من هذا. وهو بينصح انه يكون عندنا هذا الديتكترز، المانيتورز. الديتكترز هذولا مش تبع السموك ديتكترز، فعلا لازم يكون معنا سموك ديتكترز، بس بالاضافه يكون عندنا كربون مونوكسيد ديتكترز. وقال ممكن يوفر لنا بعض هذا الاجهزه. Do you have your carbon monoxide detectors with you?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I have them. They're in my vehicle at work. So, like I said, I'm going to leave my number, leave my card, call me, email me, and I can get them over to you guys. I can zip on down this way and drop them off to you guys or whatever.
مش موجودات مع حاليا، هن موجود عنده في العمل، بس ممكن يجيبهن لهنا واحنا نقوم بتوزيعهن ان شاء الله.
Okay.
And another. Can we take any questions?
Yeah. If you guys have questions, please feel free.
هل في حدا عنده سؤال؟ He said, when will you be able to bring those carbon monoxide?
Monday. I get back to work on Monday, so I'll bring them. I'm available Monday. But call and leave me a voicemail. You know, feel free to call, leave me a voicemail, give me your address, phone number, and I'll contact you and get them to you.
Is it possible that you can drop off few or several of them to here, and then we can pass them out?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
أخ ياسر.
Thank you so much, Mr. Michael, for coming today, actually. So the question is, I would love the fire department in Dearborn, you can get like a magnetic thing, like with an instruction, so like the ladies or the women, you can like stick on the corner refrigerator inside the house. So it's kind of like an instruction. You can see it like most of the time when you're in the kitchen. So
Yeah.
that's going to be more helpful, more beneficial for that. Also, here is like I wish if the city of Dearborn have a grant and they can start to spread out like some kind of like as you mentioned before, like extinguisher, fire extinguisher, and or the like smoke detector or the something like that. Some
Yeah.
kind of, like a helper or the blanket like fire jacket.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah. We do have smoke detectors. I can get you that number as well. The department has a grant for smoke detectors. We've been doing that program for a few years. And if you call, we'll get you scheduled, and we send a few people out, and they can install the smoke detectors in your home, and they'll one in each bedroom, one outside the bedroom, and one on each level of your home. I believe they're the 10-year lithium-ion batteries too, so you don't have to, every year you don't have to keep messing with the batteries and stuff. But
So how do you register for the program?
You would call our front office. I can give you the phone number, and just call and make an appointment, and they'll get you scheduled. 313-943. Let me give you mine. 2839. And then I can shoot you over to the right place.
بس ملاحظة علشان اللي ما يعرفوش إنجليزي. الأخ ياسر أولا شكر على حضور الفاير مارشال، وكان عنده سؤال إذا ممكن يكون شيء يتلصق على البراد أو الثلاجة، معلومات كيف يعني كيف إيش يسووا لو صارت حريقة، صح؟ ف I don't know if you have any magnetic instructions to fire response.
No, we don't.
So he does not.
You come within their plan, actually,
And the
next year.
Think about doing this?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for sure. No, I
Okay.
will definitely look into that.
الأخ ياسر برضو سأل على إذا فيه منحة بعض الأشياء فاير سيفتي، وذكر الفاير مارشال إنه ممكن إن الناس يسجلوا على هذا المنحة وهم يجوا يحطوا السموك ديتكتورز في غرف النوم وخارج الغرف. I don't know if you install carbon monoxide detectors as well with this program.
We haven't been doing that, but they're simple to install. It's a couple screws, and then it's got the little attachment on the back. You just kind of set it right on the screw.
اوكي. فقط السموك ديتكتور تبع الحرائق. اعطاني رقم هذا اذا حدا يشتي يسجل البرنامج هذا ممكن ياخذ الرقم مني بعد ما نكمل. الشيخ عبد الوهاب.
Thank you very much for your comment. My question is, can you make a brochure in Arabic and English so pass over
Yeah, yeah.
around the safety, about safety and
Yes. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We had those in the past, and when we do these programs, we run out, and But yes, I will definitely put those two things on the list. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
الشيخ عبد الوهاب سأل إذا ممكن يصلحوا لافتات يعني بالعربي والإنجليزي، يعني كيف؟ نعم. فقال الآن حاليا مش موجود معاهم، بس ممكن يسووها في المستقبل.
Speaking of grants, is there any grants that you guys offer nonprofits for AEDs? I noticed that a mosque in Detroit, ICD, they have an AED provided by the Detroit Park Department.
Yeah, no, I don't think we do at this time, but I mean, I can ask about that. I don't know the process of how we would do
What
that.
is
but
AED?
it's a automatic external defibrillator. It's what you'll see. You go to the Civic Center or the ice rink.
We'll learn about it in the secret.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically it's a defibrillator. If somebody were to fall down and they were in cardiac arrest and their heart's not beating, you put the patches on them, and it's automatic, so it knows it'll tell you when to shock them, when not to shock them. And it's a good idea to have.
Don't know how to explain that، بس الأخ مسعد ممكن يعني محسن ممكن تتكلم بالعربي في هذا الموضوع.
الAED هو اللي معه فيولر بالقلب، اللي قلبه يوقف. الAED يساعد انه يكون فيه شاك، يعني نبضات يجيب القلب. اكثر بعض المساجد ICD معهم واحده بس يدوها لهم الفاير ديبارتمنت حق ديترويت غايه 3 4 5 جراند مع علاقات بعض الاماكن. المفروض يكون واحد مع في المساجد اذا شيء معهم جراند من الفاير ديبارتمنت يكون يأهل المساجد من هنا، بس ما غير كذا.
انا ممكن اوضح هذه اكثر شويه يعني.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're a medical professional.
هذه اجهزه توضع في المراكز اللي تواجد فيها الناس بكثره، مثلا السيفيك سنتر، المدارس او المساجد اللي تكون فيها الناس يعني بشكل مستمر وعدد كبير. فلو قدر الله الواحد انه صار عنده توقف قلب مفاجئ،
Heart attack.
نعم heart attack or something like that، انه هذا الجهاز هذا فيه شحن يعني يكون جاهز وفي مكان سهل الوصول اليه ويكون مشحون بالكهرباء واصل، فهذا يستخدم الناس مرخصين اللي معظم
ما شاء الله.
الرخصه ان شاء الله بعد شوي. هذا بيساعدهم انه يعمل انعاش قلبي، لكن للناس مرخص يعني او هي عارف كيف يستخدمه. يساعد على عمليه الانعاش القلبي يسموها، وهذه تفيد كثيرا في عاده الحياه بخلص ناس كثيره.
هذا جزء من ال CPR, right? Okay.
بس الان بحسب بيسال بيقول انه مثلا في ديترويت الفاير ديبارتمنت عندهم جرانت يعطوها
نعم.
هل في مثلا في
Can we look into?
I know the one in the ICD, it says provided by the Detroit Fire Department.
Right. Because they are in Detroit, that's why. So maybe Dearborn can do.
Provided with the department,
Yes. We should have two. I agree. أحد ثاني عنده سؤال يا شباب؟
لا استاذ هو هذا الحاجه
قد تكلمنا. He's going to look into it. Anybody else has any questions? أي سؤال؟ الأخوة هناك? All the way in the back. I don't know if we can.
What is your opinion about charging your phone being
Charging your
What is his
phone while you
opinion
sleep,
on-
you said?
Yeah.
I do it, but when I leave, when I wake up in the morning, I unplug my phone. Obviously, I'm taking it with me, and I take the charger out of the wall. I unplug it. I know some people leave their little charging block with the cord plugged in. I don't know. I just get freaked out about electricity and all these products that we have now. Everything is battery powered. Everything is, I don't know where it's made, the standards and stuff for some of these products. I don't know the standards and the testing and all that. So I don't think it's a problem charging it when you sleep. I keep mine next to my bed, right next to kind of on my little table there. So if something were to happen, I feel like I'd know if something were to happen with it. But yeah, when I leave the house, I unplug everything. I don't leave, and if I'm going outside, I don't leave my phone charging on like the countertop or something like that. I'll take it outside with me. I don't want to leave my phone unattended, but that's just me being weird. We've seen battery fires. I've had a lady's laptop explode sitting on her lap, and that's, again, 1 in a million, but, when it happens to you, it's very shocking.
Have we had an instance?
Yeah, there's been a few
where
recently.
a result of a phone power plug actually caused a fire?
No,
Okay.
not a phone specifically.
The phone itself sometimes it gets hot.
Yeah,
hot.
yeah,
It's low.
yeah. There was right here. There's right across the street a pediatrician over here, and he had an incident with a lithium-ion battery that kind of caught fire. So it was fairly scary. But everything we use now is battery powered, and it's just unpredictable. It makes me nervous, and I think about it myself. I've got all these battery powered tools. I've got all my Milwaukee batteries right in my basement underneath my bedroom. So I'm trying to think of something I can do. Do I get a metal cabinet? I can't store them outside because of the temperature differential. It gets super hot in the summer, super cold in the winter, and I don't want those batteries to be subjected to that temperature change. But it also makes me nervous to store them in the house just because, again, they're unpredictable. And again, it's not like 8 out of 10 times this happens, but it's fairly rare that it happens. But when it does, it's pretty violent, and it definitely causes injury and fire.
It needs a place to be open, not to cover it, make it hot more, and then make us fight.
Say it again. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, if you keep this battery or something in the phone, with cover it with clothes or whatever.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah.
need more
Yes,
than,
yes.
in a place to-
Yeah, that's a good point he's talking about too. Charging your phone maybe on your bed and not putting clothes, you might not be paying attention. You throw your t-shirt over it and your pillow and a pair of socks or something. Now you got your phone creating all this heat, and it's underneath clothes, which is a fuel source, and now it's insulating, keeping all that heat. So what he's saying, which I agree with, take your phone, if you're going to charge your phone, keep your phone out and on its own, so it doesn't create heat like that, and if something happens, you
Right.
don't have all that fuel on top of it, like a t-shirt and a pillow. Your phone will react, and that will be it. But yeah, that's a good point.
Anyone else has any questions, Shabab? Abdurrahman?
I think one thing that's, two things. One, what's the precautions of leaving unused supplies, like a toaster, a blender, plugged in all times?
Yeah.
Better just to plug everything out, take them out, and then plug them back?
That's a great question. I unplug mine all the time, and my wife is the same. I've got her to be, she calls me Captain Safety, because, I'm constantly like, hey, unplug that, unplug. But now she knows. I mean, I've been with her for a while now, but every time I use the toaster, I unplug it. And it's not a big deal to plug it right back in. Her coffee maker, she plugs it in, warms it up, makes coffee, unplugs it. Only because I've seen and heard of, we've had a Dearborn police officer who had a Keurig coffee maker plugged in right underneath his cabinets, again in the kitchen, and he told me the story that he was sitting in the TV room, and all of a sudden he heard something, and he's like, what the hell is that? And he walks in the kitchen, and his Keurig was starting to burn. So as I hear these stories over the years, and again, that's probably 1 in 100,000 times that'll happen, but when you're the one guy it happens to, it's horrible. So just to be safe, I unplug stuff, yeah. So.
And I've seen people where they put their coffee pot and there's no more coffee in it,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that gets burned as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Yeah. Yep, yep. Yeah, leaving things in the oven. I've seen people store things in their oven. A lady, she had a big tray full of books and newspapers and stuff, and it sounds crazy, but she stored it in her oven, which is great when the oven's not on, but, you know, if she decides to cook something and forgets that she put all that stuff in her oven, now she sets the oven to 350 degrees and goes to take a shower while it warms up, and now all those books and papers start fire. Again, I know it sounds crazy, but it happens. So, but yeah, it's a good question. There's really no recommendation. I just do it because, you know, like up north in Michigan here, people don't lock their car doors. I lock my car doors all the time. You know what I mean? So maybe you don't unplug it, but since I've seen fires and stuff, I unplug everything. But
Another thing is when it comes to dryers, there's a lot of people who are doing it on their own and they don't follow no guidelines or instructions. And inspectors most of the time don't realize that they have to check in. But sometimes they're not either putting the gas hose properly or putting in the gas exhaust where the lens goes off.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Things, you know, sometimes those either they use the pipes or those extendable aluminum foil.
Mm-hmm.
And they leak.
They either leak or they're all ripped up, and just people want to just push them into against the walls, and now it's all bent down, and most of the time the dryer itself gets clogged, and obviously it's a heat generator machine, so it will eventually.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Boy, you've been around, man. You've seen all kinds of, I mean, that's legit. You're talking, yeah, people use those accordion-style corrugated dryer vents that are almost like foil, which are convenient because they're easy. You buy them in a tiny box, you bring them home, and now they're 8 feet long. Awesome. You can fold them, but those aren't recommended. By code, you're supposed to have the solid metal tube. So when you go to Home Depot, you'll see those metal 4-inch tubes or 6-inch tubes or whatever it is. That's the vent you want to use for your dryer, because, like he's saying, your dryer creates heat. And also in the dryer, when you guys take your lint trap out, you see how much lint is in there. That's just what's in the trap. Over years of using your dryer, that lint goes up through that vent. So that vent now is full of, oh my God, it looks like a shaggy dog up in there. There's tons of lint, and that stuff is extremely flammable. So the rigid, they call it, the rigid pipe that is not the accordion style foil, is a smooth wall. So that stuff is less likely to stick to the sides. That accordion style simple one that we tend to use has a lot of edges on it throughout, you know, so all those ribs and edges collect all of that combustible material. And then when you add the heat to it, you know, again, it's not going to happen every weekend, but if it happens, you're going to be in trouble. So that's a good point.
I think we're all done, right? Yasser? Anything else? Okay.
Beautiful. No, thank you guys so much for sticking around. I appreciate it. It was a pleasure. Thank you
We
guys.
appreciate you for coming
Yeah,
out.
definitely. Thanks so much.
Maybe one day we can explore the fire truck.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And maybe I can
Yeah.
hose down some of my
Oh,
friends.
dude, please let me know. Yeah, yeah. Him. Watching you, boy. Yeah, let me know for sure. We can try to figure that out. Absolutely. Thank you guys again. It was a pleasure. Thank you.